How's it going, folks? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel. There's a new MMORPG launch happening this week, and it's called Embers Adrift. In this video, we'll explore what we know about it, including how much it costs and what it offers. So grab a snack, a drink, and let's dig in. Embers Adrift, formerly known as Saga of Leucemia, is an indie low-fantasy medieval MMORPG made by Stormhaven Studios. Officially launching to the public on October 15th, the game requires a base fee and recurring subscription to play, and will offer its players an old-school MMORPG experience, so let's break down what exactly that means. The developers are heavily inspired by the early MMORPGs that they played. We're talking games like Ultima Online, EverQuest, Asheron's Call, and tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons. So, Embers Adrift is definitely catering to players who enjoy those games, and you'll see examples of that in the gameplay itself, for example with its combat system. Combat in Embers Adrift is tap target and very slow paced, like a few minutes to kill a giant bear kinda slow pace. Here, the game wants you to focus more on strategy and managing resources rather than button mashing, and thus you can expect global cooldown on skills and more emphasis on thinking about what abilities to use ahead of time in combat. This shines in group play especially, as players are encouraged to group up and tackle some of the more challenging content on the landscape. And to do that, you'll want your group to have some sort of synergy in combat, hence the Holy Trinity system of heals, tanks, and DPS. Embers Adrift has 3 primary combat roles to choose in character creation. The supporter are healers and buffers and off DPS, the defenders are tanks, and the strikers are primarily DPS. Once players reach level 6, they can pick more class specializations, there's 9 in total, to further define their playstyles for solo or group play. And that's when combat becomes more about synergy. The game also adds some additional RPG flavor, like introducing flanking as a combat stat and making consumables important for every adventure. Also, if you're wondering, flashy magic doesn't exist in-game due to its low fantasy setting, but rather, there's a toned-down version, the Power of Ember, which can be harnessed and manipulated for gameplay via Ember Stones and alchemy. When it comes to content, it's important to note that Embers Adrift is exclusively a PvE MMORPG, and there are currently no plans to add any PvP content like Battlegrounds or open world PvP to the game. With that said, the game does offer PvE content for both solo players and for groups of up to 6 players. There's narrative campaign-like quests to complete in addition to more mundane tasks, and long, non-linear dungeons that you probably won't be able to solo, so having some friends will be handy. If you don't have friends, Embers Adrift does have a group finder tool to help you make some, but again, being an old school MMO, you are definitely encouraged to go make a few friends yourself. For those that enjoy life skills and spending time in towns, crafting or gathering in the wilds, there are crafting professions like armor and weaponsmiths alongside gathering ones like hunting and prospecting. So what about progression in this game? Well, character levels here are pretty standard fare. You earn XP for your character, and in the beta you could do content up to level 30, with the developers making note that content beyond that level definitely does exist. Gear progression involves crafting weapons and armor, which can be further imbued to enhance their stats and properties, and if you're lucky, rare ones do drop from difficult mobs in dungeons too. There's also the reagent system, which allows players to enhance skills that doesn't just involve spending character points in skill trees, but instead a more proactive activity of finding these reagents out in the world to use. Moving on to under the hood, the game runs on the Unity engine, has a day and night cycle that impacts gameplay with an original soundtrack to boot. Rounding this up, Embers Adrift will not be available on Steam or any other platform at launch. Now that we've established an overview of what Embers Adrift is all about, how much will it cost you to check it out at launch? This may surprise some people, but the game does have a box price of $40 with a subscription price of $15. But with a celebration promo going on right now, the base price is currently $30 with a subscription price of $10 for everyone who subscribes in 2022 before the year ends to lock in that promo price. I've stayed mostly objective throughout this video, but this is just something else, man. Even with the promo price of $30, which comes with 1 free month of subscription, Embers Adrift looks and feels nowhere near that asking price. So Stormhaven Studios have got some massive balls to assume that the general MMO audience are going to approve. And maybe they will, because the game is made, according to them, for an older audience that appreciates old school MMOs that have slower strategic combat and more social interaction when forming or completing group content. But more importantly, an older audience that can afford to pay for this old school experience, which is becoming more of a niche in today's MMORPG market that's saturated with more faster paced gameplay, shall we say. The subscription also means that there won't be any cash shop, no loot boxes, and pay-to-win elements in-game. But even so, is that asking price for an old-school MMORPG experience justifiable? On top of that, the game's launch window and its hefty buy-in fee is right in the middle of some big MMO content drops. You've got World of Warcraft players getting ready for Dragonflight. New World has a huge free expansion dropping just next week. And one wonders if folks will actually renew their subscriptions here, and if they don't, this game could very quickly be an indie virtual ghost town, which should be a concern. And speaking of concerns, chatting with Embers Adrift backers and beta testers, most of them have said that they do enjoy the game for what it is, but still worry about post-launch. Will there be enough money to add new content? Has said money run dry, which resulted in this weird launch window? Can the small dev team meet the demands of its player base, which will surely finish up all the content and ask for more before the year ends? All good and important questions which time will answer. As for myself, I've spent the weekend looking up everything about Embers Adrift and have decided it's not for me. I bear no ill will towards the game nor the developers when I say a lot of the visuals and stuff reminds me of games like Shroud of the Avatar, which I despise and regret backing, even though I know that Ember's gameplay is vastly different and even superior to Shroud of the Avatar. Even so, I think the asking price is too much for a game that to me looks unfinished and needs more time. Some words of wisdom here: I've spent a lot of money on nostalgia in the past, and the more I spent, the less nostalgic I became. I thought I wanted to experience those things again. I wanted to rediscover the joys of early MMO systems and the hardships because that was fun, until it wasn't. Now that I'm older, my jobs and my family doesn't afford me the time that these older MMORPG experiences require, and I'm more often left feeling frustrated with these systems rather than having fun with them. But that's just me. But guys, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. So let's wrap this up with a summary. Embers Adrift will be launching this week as a premium indie MMORPG on the 15th of October with a buy-in price of $30. If you are interested in the game and want a new old-school MMORPG experience, you can purchase it on the official website. I'll put a link to it down in the description box. To Stormhaven Studios, hey, massive congratulations on the launch and all the best for the future. It must be awesome to have a passion project grow in such a short period of time into a full product. And that's it from me, folks. Feel free to share your thoughts about Embers Adrift down in the comments. Will you be paying for it and checking out the launch? Let me know. In the meantime, hit the like button if you enjoy the content, and you're welcome to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new upload. Once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you for watching.